You are listening to the People Station on greatdayradio.com.
Welcome to greatdayradio.com, your motivational podcast show. For this episode, we will discuss leadership perspectives and empowerment. I am DJ Sophia Grace, along with my partner in crime, DJ Mikey D. As we were discussing our talking points, I think we both understand leadership from different lenses, being that I am from England. What is your perspective, Mikey?
Leadership used to mean wielding power over others, but research shows that 87% of today's most successful organizations have completely flipped that model on its head, focusing instead on self-leadership and empowerment. The transformation in how we think about leadership over the past few decades is nothing short of revolutionary.
That's such a fascinating shift in perspective. What do you think drove this dramatic change in how we view leadership?
Well, the research by Neck and Houghton really opened our eyes to something crucial. They found that self-leadership, which involves 3 key strategies, is actually the foundation for all effective leadership. You've got behavior-focused strategies for self-assessment, natural reward strategies for motivation, and these fascinating constructive thought pattern strategies that reshape how we think.
That makes me think about how different this is from the traditional command and control style we used to see everywhere. Also, this is how I have experienced the roles of leadership here in London, England.
Exactly. And here's what's really interesting. Studies show that organizations implementing these self-leadership principles see a 34% increase in employee engagement and a 28% boost in innovation. It's like unleashing this hidden potential that was always there.
So how do these principles actually work in practice? What does it look like on the ground?
Well, let me give you a concrete example. When Microsoft adopted these principles in their development teams, they saw a 40% increase in project completion rates. They did it by implementing what they called empowerment zones, areas where employees had complete autonomy to make decisions about their work processes.
That's exactly the kind of real-world impact I was curious about. You know, I've seen similar transformations in other companies too.
And what's fascinating is how this connects to Zimmerman's research on the 4 dimensions of empowerment: material, cognitive, relational, and intrapersonal. His studies showed that when all 4 dimensions are actively supported, employee satisfaction increases by up to 45%.
You know what really strikes me about this? The way these concepts create this positive feedback loop in organizations.
Right. And Manns and Sims found something really interesting in their research. They discovered that self-leadership skills can be developed through specific empowerment practices, creating what they called a virtuous cycle of growth. Organizations that implemented these practices saw a 52% reduction in turnover rates.
That's remarkable. How do you think companies can best support this kind of development?
Well, the data shows 3 key strategies that make the biggest impact. First, structured training programs that include self-assessment tools. These typically improve leadership effectiveness by 37%. Second, creating psychological safety. Companies with high psychological safety scores see 41% more innovation. And third, establishing peer collaboration networks, which can boost problem-solving efficiency by 28%.
Those numbers really drive home the practical impact of these approaches.
And here's something even more interesting. These principles don't just work in professional settings. Studies show that individuals who apply self-leadership principles in their personal lives report 43% higher life satisfaction scores and are 31% more likely to achieve their personal goals.
That reminds me of that powerful Henry Miller quote about restoring belief in our own guidance. It really captures the essence of what we're talking about.
Exactly, and recent research has actually quantified what Miller was talking about. When people develop strong self-leadership skills, their self-efficacy scores increase by an average of 38%, and their ability to handle complex challenges improves by 45%.
So what do you see as the biggest challenges in developing these skills?
Well, the research points to three main obstacles. First, consistency. About 67% of people struggle to maintain these practices under stress. Second, isolation. 42% of individuals try to develop these skills without proper support systems. And third, what researchers call the implementation gap, where 73% of people understand the concepts but struggle to apply them effectively.
Those are significant challenges. What strategies have proven most effective in overcoming them?
The data shows that the most successful approach is what I call the AAA framework. Awareness, regular self-assessment, accountability, having support systems, and action, small, consistent steps. Organizations that implement this framework see a 58% higher success rate in leadership development programs.
That really helps put it all in perspective. What do you think the future holds for these concepts?
Looking at current trends, we're seeing a fascinating evolution. By 2030, experts predict that 80% of successful organizations will have integrated self-leadership principles into their core operations. The future of leadership isn't about power, it's about empowerment and self-direction.
Well, this conversation has certainly changed how I think about leadership development.
And that's really the key takeaway. When we understand that leadership starts with leading ourselves, we unlock potential we never knew we had. The research shows that this approach isn't just more effective, it's the future of how we'll develop both personally and professionally.
Okay, my peeps, that is a wrap for this show. Thank you so much for tuning in to greatdayradio.com, the best podcast ever from here in the UK and everywhere in between. If you have a topic you would like for us to tackle, please leave a note on any of our social media platforms or visit our website and click on Let's Talk to leave a message or two. Until later, peace out.
Thank you for listening to greatdayradio.com. Are you ready to win some cool prizes and awesome giveaways? If so, you need to visit greatdayradio.com. Click on Join Our Contest and enter your email to get our latest newsletter that will update on the latest contest, giveaways, and new podcast shows. Also, with our successful podcast, many have asked if we would offer courses on many of the topics we discuss. Stay locked in as we welcome our all-new Great Day Radio Boot Camp. In it, you will have access to lessons that will help you achieve goals such as learning how to make a living as a mobile DJ, learning how to start and monetize your very own podcast show. These are just a couple of the topics. So, stay connected and get ready to level up for self-improvement. Again, please visit greatdayradio.com and sign up for our newsletter. Get ready for our next episode.
If you would like to support our podcast and the creative content we provide, there are several ways you can help support us. For example, you sponsor an ad by visiting greatdayradio.com, click on advertising, or you can support our advertisers you see on our website. And lastly, you can click on the Support the Show in the description of the podcast you are listening to donate using our Cash App, such as Venmo, or search Great Day Radio on your Venmo account. Thank you for sharing the love. Peace out, my party peeps.
You are listening to the best podcast from the USA to the UK on greatdayradio.com.